and welcome to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless. He is the founder of Allied Wealth. Ryan, how are you?
I'm so good. As usual, it's so great to be here with you and the viewers at home. It's been a lot of fun doing the show, having a tremendous amount of success. You'll notice that Matt and Pete aren't with us today. They're at the office taking care of the fine folks at Houston. So it's been a great show. I want to thank the listenership for tuning in and taking advantage of the offers, and it's good to be here with you.
Most definitely, and I love to hear how well the show is being received, because obviously you're sharing information, Ryan, that a lot of people are not talking about right now. Specifically, we're talking a lot about planning for retirement, because obviously so often people that are entering the retirement years, they don't have a true plan in place. They may have a mental idea of what retirement's going to look like, but they don't have a written, comprehensive, holistic plan.
It's very true. It's, you know, we talk about how retirement's changed, right? So back in the 70s, in the 80s, early 80s, you got your gold watch, you got your pension,
yep,
you got your Social Security, and there was very little planning to be done, and people had very few dollars in the stock market, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, now the onus has been put on the employee or the retiree, the saver, to save money and fund their own retirement.
Yeah.
And it's dramatically changed the landscape. And, you know, the elements that someone has to really think about and deal with are complex. I mean, we've got Social Security. When do I take it? You know, does one wait till 70 and one wait till 66? Do I take it at 62? What about Medicare? What happens to my health care? When do I go on the Medicare program and leave my company's insurance? If I have a pension, what do I do with my pension? Do I take the lump sum or take the payout? I've got, you know, $1 million plus in my 401k. I've got another $1 million account over somewhere else. How do I get those two firing on all cylinders to work together to generate the income that I need in retirement? So there's all this minefield of stuff you have to navigate. And when you work with an advisor to develop for you a written comprehensive financial plan, that gives you a roadmap to success, right? And the roadmap to success at our office is measured in a percentage. And so if we can get your roadmap to success done, you've got an 85% chance of success. We send you out in the world to go enjoy your golden years.
I love that. Well, you mentioned a word, obviously, I want to kind of circle back to. You said pension, and in my mind, I'm thinking they're kind of a dinosaur, a thing of the past. Ryan, is that true?
Well, it is true. At other shows, we've talked about how only 13% of companies today are offering pensions anymore.
Wow.
But in Texas, we have a lot of oil companies, and a lot of the oil companies do offer pensions. And something to be really mindful of is people oftentimes take the discount, take the lump sum value out of their pension and then go do something else with it instead of the payout from the pension, all right? So I have clients that don't understand that their lump sum value is calculated based on something called the segment rate, okay? And so if the segment rate goes up, which interest rates are going up right now, right, the value of your lump sum pension falls down.
Wow, okay.
So I've had folks go, hey, Ryan, I want to work 2 more years. I'm making good money right now. I want to work 2 more years. And I go, be careful, because we're in a rising rate environment. If you make $150,000 in that first year and make another $150,000 in that second year, well, you've had a 2-year period where rates could rise. And rates could rise enough to where your lump sum value in your pension is discounted $300,000.
Wow.
So you just work for 2 years for free.
Oh my gosh.
And it's mind-boggling to me, the number of folks that don't understand how that lump sum is calculated out there. The other thing I'll tell you is I get people and they're looking at these numbers, and maybe they're not as well prepared as they feel like they should have been, or they're kind of stressed about money and what they're going to do to fund their retirement vision.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about not putting their spouse, not putting their wife on to receive the payment from the pension in the event they die.
Oh wow. And
if that's you at home, don't do that, because if you die, your wife's going to wake you up and kill you all over again. So be careful of that. Make sure that if you're going to take a payout from the pension, make sure you put your spouse on there.
Yeah.
Make sure that your bride receives that payment in the event you pass away, as long as she has breath in her body as well.
Yeah, these are all things that people need to really think about and plan for, Ryan, because obviously you're going into uncharted waters when you're talking about retirement, because obviously when you've been with a company so long, not only is that your identity, because so much of us are kind of identified with what we do in our work family, but you're navigating into an area of life where there's no income coming in anymore. And so you're completely responsible for making sure, one very important thing, not to run out of money.
That's exactly right. And Cynthia, we call it solving the retirement equation.
Yeah.
And that is, how do I live the next 30 years without a paycheck and not run out of money or income in the process.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to solve. And so if you have the resources available to you to take advantage of a retirement blueprint, right? If you have the resources available to do that, which we make it complimentary at our office, so there's no reason why you shouldn't, right? But we take a look at all the things that you have. We put them together in a manner where you understand what's going to happen, understand what's going on, how your money's invested, how it works, what happens if the market crashes, and what your income will be, and what is the long-term chance of success of that plan working out in your favor. And that's such an important factor for folks to take advantage of today, because so many are just, you know, I remember a commercial a while back on TV, my investment plan is I throw money at the wall and hope something good happens. Right? And so many people, that's their plan. Well, don't do that, folks, because ready or not, retirement is going to come your way. And you need to be prepared for it.
Yes, I have to ask you, Ryan, with obviously going through the pandemic, were a lot of your clients forced into retirement early, and if so, were they okay because of the plan? We had some of that for sure, and the neat thing about that, Cynthia, is we try to teach to engage a financial advisor 5 years minimum before you retire. Okay. 5 years minimum. A lot of people wait to the last minute and then go see the advisor, right? Yeah. So based on that, we were able to help many of our clients navigate the COVID situation. And we had some folks that, you know, they got an early buyout from the old company they worked with, and they were happy with that. And we helped them invest those funds and get them on the right track and get their income started for retirement. And then we had people that were scared. Ryan, I'm not prepared. Yeah. You know, I've lost my job. You know, what do we do? And you know, these are people that I love and care about, so we try to coach and help through that. Or we say, okay, you know, maybe we have to ratchet down the second home in Vail, Colorado, or whatever it is, and do things a little bit differently, but you're going to be okay. Well, Ryan, I know we have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home today. Let's talk a little bit in detail about what that is before we open the phones. So we're offering a retirement blueprint, and what that is to the viewers at home is a complete analysis of your current investments. What do you have? How are they working together? Then we're going to dive into, okay, we got to look at your Social Security income, because it's a super important part of retirement, all right? So how do we get every dollar, squeeze every nickel out of Social Security? It's already rightfully yours, by the way, folks. It's already your money, right? Yeah. So how do we take your investment portfolio and reduce risk? So if we have a 08-09 scenario in retirement, you're not going to blow up and not be able to generate the income you need to live the lifestyle you deserve to live. Next thing we're going to look at is taxation. How can we help you mitigate downside our taxes? Taxes are the biggest expense you have in retirement, for sure. And how can we reduce fees and reduce risk? Those are all part of the blueprint. So folks, pick up the phone and call us, 844-944-7555. Again, 844-944-7555, and take advantage of the complimentary financial blueprint. And Ryan, how long does that first consultation typically take? We can do that as little as 30 minutes in some cases. Okay. And folks, and you know, we mentioned the COVID world we live in, right? We can do it on a Zoom. Okay. We can do our first meeting on a Zoom. You can come into the office. Whatever you want to do, we will cater to serve you. Ryan, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 844-944-7555. We know that you have a lot of questions for Ryan about how to plan your perfect retirement. He is offering you a complimentary consultation. All you have to do is take advantage of picking up the phone and calling in today. That number is 844-944-7555. We have to take a very short commercial break, but when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail with Ryan about where his vision came from for Allied Wealth and why he's so passionate about education. Stay tuned.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have, by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless. He is the founder of Allied Wealth. Ryan, a great show that we're having today, obviously talking about such an important topic, planning for retirement. But I want to let the viewers get to know you in a more intimate level, if you will. Obviously, you designed Allied Wealth because you wanted something different and unique. Let's talk about where that vision came from and then why you're passionate about educating others.
Well, that's a great question, Cynthia. The vision for the company was really, I saw a void in the industry to where financial advice was something not a lot of people could get, and was the advice good for that person or not, right? Mm-hmm. So we have a presentation in our office. We talk about wholesale versus retail financial services and the difference between the types of advisors that are out there. And largely the advisors that are kind of, you know, the ones that are not so focused on the client's interests, like we are at Allied Wealth, that's the majority of the advisors out there.
Wow. And
so I really looked at the landscape and saw a broken system. I'm like, well, that's not the right thing for the client. And I feel like we can do the right thing for the client at Allied Wealth, help add tremendous value to the clients at Allied Wealth, and in return be rewarded greatly for what we do. And that's exactly what's unfolded.
And also the education piece, because obviously I know that you saw a need for people to be informed about how to plan properly for retirement. Let's talk about why you're passionate about sharing your knowledge.
They don't teach it in school.
Yeah.
You know, we're not taught. I mean, kids in school today don't need to be learning about, everything about, history is important, for instance. I'm not going to knock on history, but it's important to know. But hey, how about teaching kids how to balance a checkbook?
Yeah.
How about teaching them that when they are Ryan Wheless in college at 17 years or 18 years of age, he gets a credit card for $10,000 and goes and blows $10,000 on God knows what, and has no idea the ramifications of not paying that credit card, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a true story, folks. I mean, that's how I learned about credit, right?
Sure.
So, and then beyond that, it's not just balancing a checkbook and credit. It's about how to invest and how to save, the time value of money, right? So many folks don't have any concept of this stuff because it's just simply not talked about. It's in a lot of places, it's even taboo to talk about money or investments, right?
Yeah.
So when I understand that, when I see that void, it makes me passionate because I can educate people about how to reduce risk in their portfolio, how to create a paycheck for the next 30 years and not run out of money in the process, how to allocate your 401k while you're currently working. Like right now, what do you do inside that 401k plan to allocate funds? And more importantly, Cynthia, the age of conventional financial wisdom started from 1980 to the year 1999, where the stock market went up 1,000%. Buy in the market, don't get out, rebalance your portfolio once a month, and you'll be fine. And that was true from 1980 to the year 1980 to the year 1999. It's not that way anymore. We had a 13-year period when the stock market from 2000 to 2013, where the stock market return was zero.
Yeah.
What if you retired in 2000?
Wow.
You had 0% return on your money for 13 years. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Absolutely.
Well, are there ways that are different, ways of investing, strategies that I may not know about because I just don't know what I don't know, that could have helped me get a higher rate of return during that 13-year period? And the answer is absolutely yes. And it's mind-boggling to me the number of folks out there that just don't have that knowledge. And that's just being able to share that and having that and sharing that with people to empower people is one of the things that fills my cup the most.
I love that. Ryan, I should ask you, what advice do you have for people that are perhaps planning to ride the stock market for their retirement? Because we hear a lot about people that are approaching retirement, they have their investments, they're watching the stock market to see what happens. But your advice to someone who's just relying solely on that, if you will? If
you're relying solely on the stock market, there's an old rule that's called the 4% rule, right? And I always ask, if that's your plan, that's okay, all right? As long as you can understand that you might lose money. Well, let's look at an 08 scenario. I've got $1 million in the beginning of 08. I take out 4%. That's $40,000. Well, when I get to the bottom of the market crash in 09, right, I'm down to $600,000. Well, what's 4% of $600,000? It's $24,000. So my income, not only did my portfolio get cut in half, my income got cut in half as well.
Yeah.
So if that's you, if you're depending upon the stock market to produce the return you need to live the lifestyle you want to live and deserve to live in retirement, that's what you're facing. Because if you're taking a fixed amount of out of the markets and the market goes down, your paycheck's going to go down.
Yeah.
Or you have to take more out, compounding your loss. And so I would tell you that there are ways to do it that are different. There are ways to be in the market in a capacity to where you have a lot of upside potential, but you also have downside mitigated risk. And that's one of the things that we do at our company is that when we design our portfolios, we do it backwards. Most fund managers, most money managers want to get the client the highest rate of return they can because they feel that's what the client wants. Until the stock market collapses and their returns collapse with them, they find out real fast that's not what the client wanted. What the client actually wants is you to build it backwards, meaning let's focus on mitigating the downside risk first, right? And let's focus on getting the return second. And there are ways to do that in the stock market to where you're down 35% in the March COVID crash, and portfolios out there that weren't down anywhere near that percentage.
Wow. Well, I would love for you to walk me through, Ryan, what the portfolio X-ray looks like. What are the steps that you take when you're looking at someone's portfolio?
So we are going to take a deep dive into all capacities of their investments. If you have individual stocks, if you have mutual funds, ETFs, any type of annuities, we're going to look at all those and see how they work together and if they are designed to work together in the current state, and if we can help point you in the direction of some changes if we find some changes that need to be made. Most importantly, we're going to do what's called a stress test, all right? And we're going to test your portfolio, in its current state, how it would have looked like if you were in that portfolio in 2001, 2002, and 2008, 2009 during the COVID crash. And it's a really eye-opening thing because people go, well, wait a minute, Ryan, I never thought in a million years I could lose 35% of my money. Had no idea. Yet you're showing me this is what I'm in. And that's true. And a lot of times we find out that people are working with the wrong advisor for them that doesn't have the ability to mitigate that downside risk, right? Well, we do have the ability. And when people see it for the first time, I'm like, well, I had no idea about this kind of stuff. And it exists and it's out there and you can absolutely take advantage of it.
Well, Ryan, you mentioned something, working with the advisor that's not the right choice for them. In your words, how important is it to have a second opinion if someone out in the viewing audience right now is unsure?
So there's a lot of reasons why it's important to have a second opinion. But the biggest thing is this, is do you have enough confidence in your financial advisor or your financial plan to seek a second opinion? Because you should. If I get told by a doctor tomorrow that I'm dying of cancer and have 6 months to live, I can promise you I'm going to get a second opinion. Right?
Absolutely.
And so it's kind of the same thing with your portfolio. This is the most important thing you have, right? So if somebody's got you in a strategy that you don't fully understand how it works, right? Go talk to somebody else and at least make sure so you have peace of mind that you know how your strategies work, right? And you're on the right path.
And that's what it's all about, right? Having the right path for retirement, because obviously, like we've talked about it in the past, you get one chance to retire and that's it. You want to get it right the first time.
If you can mess it up seriously. I have seen things in my career, Cynthia, we talked about pensions earlier. I had some folks that were just, struggling over to do a joint payout from the pension or a single life payout, right? And we signed the forms for these people in the office. And these folks were a little apprehensive about retirement and just transacting in general. So they drove their pension documents to their company in Austin, Texas. Wouldn't trust the mail, okay? On the way there, the wife decides that she's going to outlive the husband. And they changed their election from joint life payout to just based on her single life payout. Okay? 2 years later, she dies.
Oh my gosh.
So not only did her husband's income go away, and he had about $200,000 left to live, and he's since passed on as well. It's a very stressful time for him, unfortunately. But she worked her whole life to put money in that pension and never got to use it.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just that story resonates with me so hard. And you ask why I'm passionate. If I can help people not do that, that's awesome. Right? That fills my cup.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, this is the perfect time for us to open the phone lines. Let's talk about what that offer is today before we open them up.
Yeah, basically, folks, we're offering you a complimentary financial blueprint. And the blueprint is very simple. We want to take a deep dive into your current positions, right? Look at what you've got going on. Let's test that against, what your goals are. And what is the chance of success that you're going to meet your goals using what you currently have? The next thing that we do is really different than anybody else out there, and we love this, is we're going to test your current portfolio against a Vanguard fund that you can go buy on your own without working with any financial advisor at all, not paying any fees, right? And just see what it looks like compared to what you're currently doing.
Perfect.
And lastly, we're going to show you what it looks like to work with Allied Wealth with some guarantees and safety, and we're going to show you what it looks like to work with Allied Wealth at 100% risk portfolio. And it's kind of like a vision test. It's like, which one looks better, right? Which one do you want to go with?
Yeah.
And Cynthia, what's really funny is the amount of people that come in and I say, okay, your current portfolio has a 65% chance of success. You can go to Vanguard, Ms. Jones, right now and put your money in the VBINX Vanguard Balanced Mutual Fund and raise your success rate to 76%. And they look at me and go, well, why am I paying my current advisor? And I go, I don't know.
Like, great question.
It's all part of the financial blueprint, folks. So take advantage of it. It's complimentary. Call the number on the screen, 844-944-7555. Again, 844-944-7555. And take advantage of the complimentary retirement blueprint today.
Ryan, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is once again on your screen. That number is 844-944-7555. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Ryan about what's his opinion on paying off debt before retirement. Stay tuned.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to On the Money. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Ryan Wheless. He is the founder of Allied Wealth. Ryan, a great show we're having today, talking about a variety of topics, but I know probably a lot of people are wondering what your opinion is on this specifically, paying off debt before retirement. What advice do you have for the viewers at home?
Well, if your debt is credit card debt, we might need to think about retiring, right? Because we got a lot of credit card debt out there that needs to go. It's got to go fast. I mean, rates on credit cards these days are 20%, and there's no amount of money that you can put in the stock market over here and try to get 20% a year average return, because it's not going to happen, by the way. It's just not, right? So people say, well, I want to keep my money over here and not pay the debt off because I'm making more money on my money than I am on the debt. No, you're not. That's not the way it works, right? So if you have credit card debt, pay it off. Pay it off as fast as possible. And you can use a snowball effect where you pay off the small cards and kind of roll them up to the big cards, and we call it snowballing debt, but pay it off. Beyond that, most of my clients and prospects that watch the show are a little better prepared for retirement, and they don't have credit card debt. But they ask me, should I pay off the car, or should I pay off the house? It really just depends on what you're comfortable with. I have one lady, she's like, Ryan, I'm paying 2% interest on this car loan. It's driving me crazy. And I'm like, well, pay it off. You got the money to do it. Pay it off. If you pay the car off, it's not going to make any impact on your success rate at all. Not at all. So pay it off. But that makes you feel good, right? But then I got people that go, hey, well, Ryan, I earned X amount of percent in your portfolio last year, which is way more than I'm paying 2% interest on, right? So I might just keep that in that equation. But the bottom line is whether you want to pay the debt off or not, the amount of debt you have should not be restrictive when you go into retirement. It shouldn't be a burden in any capacity. You should have the money available to you to pay off the debt in an account somewhere if you needed to. Okay. Very important. If you have a card debt, for instance, credit card debt, pay that stuff off. Pay the credit card debt off. Get rid of that. That shouldn't be in the equation. Cars it depends on what your rate is. Mortgages, I hear people that go, well, Ryan, the only tax deduction I get in retirement is the mortgage interest, and I'm like, so you're spending $3,000 a month on a mortgage to save $10,000 a year on taxes? Yeah. Which is basically the math on that, right? So don't be under that fallacy that you get a tax deduction in retirement based on your mortgage, because yes, you do, but the tax deduction is not as good as you think it is.
Ryan, what advice do you have for someone who's perhaps 5 years away from retirement today, but they do not have a plan in place?
That you start today. Do not wait until the last minute to go seek the counsel of a financial advisor. Start with working with somebody now, because you may go find somebody to work with, and a year in, you may find out that's not the right person for you, right? Do it then instead of when you retire. Nothing worse than going to go work with an advisor when you actually retire, rolling all your accounts over to them, right, and finding out a year later they're not the right fit for you, right? So do that ahead of time. Get to know your advisor, build a relationship, and once you've got that in place, you kind of know, hey, Ryan's my guy. Right? We've been working together for 5 years. I like him. My wife trusts him and knows him. My kids know him. You know, he's consistent. He's the same guy on the television he is in the office. You know, so I'm going to work with him, right? Versus I rolled my money over to this guy and I found out it was the wrong advisor for me. So now I lost a bunch of money or paid a bunch of fees I shouldn't have paid, and I got to figure it out again.
That's true. Very good point. Well, Ryan, with only about 1 minute and 45 seconds left of the show this week, any final words of wisdom and advice that you want to give the viewers at home? The
biggest thing is folks, please take advantage of our offer. We do this show for your benefit. The financial blueprint that we offer is a written, comprehensive financial plan that encompasses, you know, income gap analysis, a spending plan, so you can go spend money in retirement with confidence, by the way, the actual spending plan, right? I love that. A portfolio Xray where we take a deep dive into your portfolio, look at the fees you're paying, the risk you're taking, tax mitigation strategies. So there's a whole bundle of benefits that clients get when they take advantage of the free portfolio review. But most important, people walk away feeling confident, confident about their financial future, which is very important.
It's very important. I have to ask you, is it ever too late, Ryan, to get started on a plan for retirement?
It is never. It is never. And Cynthia, that's one thing at Allied Wealth that's different. We focus in terms of something called life savings. Life savings is relative. If you have $200,000 and that's your life savings versus somebody who's got $10 million and that's their life savings, it's still a relative term, right? So if your life savings is important to you and you're behind the 8 ball, call us. We'll still help you.
I love that. Well, Ryan, I know that obviously the viewers at home are really enjoying all the information that you provide. We're going to talk in detail again in the future, obviously next week, and you have a radio show. I can't wait to hear about that. So again, thank you for another amazing episode. Always a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, Ryan. To the viewers at home, most specifically, we would like to thank you for spending time with us. That number to call is 844-944-7555. We know you have questions for Ryan about how to plan your perfect retirement. What he's offering you today is a complimentary consultation, a portfolio review. All you have to do is take advantage of calling in to 844-944-7555. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back here 1 week from today.